Hello and welcome to Cryptoflifetales Missing Persons. Today we are talking about the disappearance of Jennifer Hillier-Penney. Jennifer Hillier-Penney disappeared from her estranged husband's house on November 30th of 2016. The alleged kidnapping and homicide continues to haunt loved ones and friends. Now, it was a cold Wednesday night in November 2016 in the small remote town of St. Anthony. It's on the northern reaches of Newfoundland, Northern Peninsula, 6 hours from the nearest major city. Now, Jennifer left work at the local hospital where she was a clerk around 4 p.m. and drove to her father's home, a half an hour away in the nearby town of St. Leonard-Gruget, the town where she grew up with her 7 siblings. Jennifer was 38 years old, a mother of 2. The Hillers were fixtures in the community, and Jennifer was well loved by many. Now, Jennifer married her high school sweetheart, a local fisherman named Dean Penny, when their daughter Maria was only 4 years old. Jennifer was last seen on November 30th of 2016 at her estranged husband's home in St. Anthony. The 38-year mother of 2 was spending the night at Penny's to look after the couple's teenage daughter, Deanna. Her coat, passport, and car keys were all found in the home. Now, the RCP labeled her disappearance as suspicious, but have never identified any suspects or persons of interest. Jennifer's family has been vocal in their belief that she was killed. Now, it's been 2 years of questions without answers at that time as to where the woman's whereabouts or what happened that night. So, to mark the sad anniversary of her disappearance, a march was organized on November 30th of 2017. Participants walked from the town hall up to Husky Drive to the home for where Jennifer disappeared. Now, Jennifer's sister believes her sister was murdered, and she believes there's more than one person out there who knows what happened. Now, in November of 2016, Dean Penny had plans to go ducky hunting at his cabin in nearby Northwest Arm. It's about 45 minutes from St. Anthony on the only highway that leads back to the main part of the island, just past the small St. Anthony Airport. Deanna Penny, the couple's youngest daughter, was still living at the home with her father, and Jennifer didn't want Deanna to be alone while her father was away fishing. So she went back to the home for a week because Dean was away, and Deanna, her youngest, wanted her to stay in the house because it was right next to her school. So a lot of people said Jennifer did not want to go there. She did not want to be in that house. So on November 30th of 2016, Jennifer and her sister Yvonne Hiller-Decker had dinner with their dad. He was a newly widowed man, having recently lost his wife to illness. And the Hiller children were helping to take care of their father during this time. So after dinner, Jennifer drove her sister to an appointment at the local hospital at St. Anthony, just a 3-minute drive from her estranged husband's house. This was her routine for the week while he was away. She'd leave work, drive to her dad's for dinner, then drive back to Dean's house where she stayed overnight so Deanna wasn't alone. But on that drive back to town, Jennifer's sister says her sister got a strange phone call, and it was Dean saying that the two didn't talk on the phone a lot, but he had called to ask her, "Are you coming home now?" And she said she was coming, and he was like rushing her to come back home for some reason. So the RCMP says that Jennifer got to her estranged husband's home sometime around 8 p.m. that Wednesday night after dropping her sister off. She texted her oldest daughter that she had a headache and she was going to sleep. It was also known that she was texting a man that night, a friend and former colleague, but her friend said she was getting advice from him about a divorce lawyer, and because he had recently gone through a divorce himself. So Jennifer's youngest daughter, Deanna, didn't arrive home till 9:30 p.m. past her curfew and didn't check in with her mom. She didn't realize anything was wrong until the next morning when she awoke to her mom's alarm going off on her phone at 7 a.m. She thought it was strange that her mom wasn't turning her alarm off, so she went to check on her, and she found her mom's phone on the kitchen counter. And she thought that was really weird because her mom wakes up at the crack of dawn and gets her ready for school. And she hadn't checked in with her that morning. So Deanna also noticed that her mom's stuff, like her coat, her cell phone, her purse, her jacket, her boots, and her car was in the driveway. But she couldn't find her mother. So she went ahead and reported to her dad about her mom not being there. And they said that Deanna's grandmother, Ruby Penny, told her she called her and told her she couldn't find her mom. Ruby reportedly called Dean back from hunting and told him to meet her at the home. Now, the local story goes that Ruby arrived at the Penny's home and then got in touch with police in that community. The RCMP is the frontline police force. So Deanna called some of her aunts and uncles. Glenn Hiller was one of the first people to arrive that morning. Now, Glenn says that he, Dean Penny, Ruby Penny, Deanna, and the police officers looked around the home to see if anything was missing or anything funny was going on. Dean called his elder daughter Marina and asked if she talked to her mom that morning. At first, she wasn't very worried because she said she assumed her mama was doing her own thing, like maybe something had came up and she was getting away with one of her girlfriends. Now, in court documents, they described it as an ongoing investigation into a kidnapping and homicide, which is believed to have occurred on or around November 30th of 2016 near St. Anthony, Newfoundland and Labrador. But in the initial days after Jennifer's disappearance, her friends and family says that the RCMP treated the case as if she was a runaway or she had committed suicide. They are saying that the police were trying to say that she committed suicide, although nobody was found. Now, the RCMP talked to some friends and family and began looking for Jennifer. They brought search dogs and a helicopter, a sonar-equipped boat to search the harbor, but there was no signs of Jennifer. Many people said she feared for her life. Now, it took RCMP almost a week to lock down the house where Jennifer disappeared, a potential crime scene. And in those days, when someone was missing, it seems like everyone at St. Anthony came through the home, bringing casseroles for the family, lending their support while they searched for answers. So apparently people were in and out the house that morning. People were going through her purse, her cell phone, her iPad, whatever they could get their hands on. So a week after she disappeared on December 7th of 2016, the RCMP put out a media release that said they were following an extensive investigation and that they considered the disappearance of Jennifer to be suspicious. Now, many people were saying that Jennifer was ready to start a new life. She was not only separated from her husband, but just a few weeks before her disappearance, she'd been talking to a lawyer about getting a divorce. But many said the separation wasn't something that Dean wanted. So they said she began putting her name forward for jobs. She applied for a position as a secretary at a police station in Glovertown, 8 hours from St. Anthony, not far from where Marina was living. So it's still, as of today, there's still nothing going on as far as the investigation goes. It's been a standstill. No one's heard from her. And so we will keep you updated if anything happens. I will put the information as far as if anybody's heard anything about her disappearance or knows anything. The information will be in the description box. And thank you for listening.